Okay, this is lesson 6.5, part 2. And in this lesson, we're going to focus on application problems, word problems, story problems. So I'm going to show you one story problem. You should watch it carefully and take really good notes because that's the only problem that I'm going to give you. And then I'm going to give you one last problem where you're going to do sort of the opposite of what you've done already and work backwards from a graph and try to write an inequality from that. So let's just get going. You can continue these notes in your notebook under the same lesson, 6.5, and add problem number 4. And this problem says, for your party, your mom gives you $50 to spend on pizza and drinks. Each pizza costs $5, each 2-liter of soda costs $2. Write a linear inequality and graph the solution, and then give me 3 possible combinations. So what's implied in this problem that doesn't really come right out and say it is that you can spend $50 on food and drinks for your party. But what it doesn't say directly is that you don't have to spend all $50. You could spend less than $50. So really this is an inequality that involves less than or equal to, because you could spend all $50. So like other story problems, we're going to start by writing out what our variables are going to be. And I'm going to use x and y because those are easy variables to graph. I'm going to let x be the number of pizzas, and I'm going to let y be the number of 2-liter sodas. And just like the other problems, I'm going to put in what a pizza costs and what a 2-liter costs. Now, this isn't a linear system or a system of equations or inequalities. This is just one inequality. So don't get confused. Even though I'm setting it up like we have done for the systems, it's just one equation or one inequality. And it looks like this. I can buy so many pizzas at $5 a piece. $5 times the number of pizzas. And I can buy so many sodas at $2 a piece. So plus 2 times y. And what I have to spend for all the pizzas and all the sodas is $50. So all the money I spend on pizza and sodas could be equal to 50, but it also could be less than 50. So there's my inequality. And because this inequality is written in standard form, remember that's ax plus by equals c, the easiest way to graph this inequality is to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Remember, that's where the line crosses the x-axis and where it crosses the y-axis. And the trick that we learned in class was the finger trick. And you do that by covering up the y to find the x-intercept. So if I cover up the y, 5x equals 50, divide both sides by 5, the x-intercept is 10. And finding the y-intercept, I cover up the x. What's left is 2y equals 50, divide both sides by 2, the y-intercept will be 25. So I can graph this inequality using the x and y-intercept, and knowing that the x is the pizza and the y is the soda. So because this is a story problem, because I can't buy a negative number of pizzas and a negative number of sodas, when I set up my graph, I'm only going to use quadrant 1. And I'm going to let the x-axis be the number of pizzas, because that's what I wrote for x. And the y-axis is going to be the number of sodas, because that's what I wrote for the y. I can graph x, the x10, by going by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the x-intercept is 10. The y-intercept is 25, so I'm going to go by 5s on the y-axis. Remember, it doesn't have to be the same scale on each axis. Y-intercept is 25, and then I draw my line, connecting the x and y-intercept. Notice also that the line I drew is a solid line because the inequality is or equal to. Now, it's an inequality, so one side of the line or the other has to be shaded. And you can test a point. The easiest point is 0, 0, right down here. So if I put 0 in for x and 0 in for y, 5 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. Is that less than or equal to 50? And the answer is yes. So the side of the line that I want to shade is on the same side as 0, 0. That's all this stuff down here. So for this story problem, I wrote an inequality. I graphed it. That's my graph right here. And now the last part of the problem says, what are 3 possible combinations? What are 3 different ordered pairs of pizza and soda that you can buy with the $50? Well, the combinations that you can write out are all found in the region that you shaded. So all you have to do is pick a point that's in the green shaded region, like this one. That point is in that region, and the coordinates of that point are 4 and 10. Now that's great, that's a math coordinate, but it's not really a combination for the answer to this story problem. Remember, the x is the number of pizzas and y is the number of sodas, so you're going to write out, I can buy 4 pizzas and 10 bottles of pop or soda. Then you pick another point. Well, I can come all the way out here to this point, and that's 6 pizzas and 5 sodas. This is a solid line, so I could pick a point that's actually on the line if I wanted to. That would be 6 pizzas and 10 sodas. And that's it. Those are 3 different possible combinations of pizzas and sodas that you can buy and spend $50 or less. Now there's an infinite number of possibilities in this region, but you're only going to pick numbers that make sense. You're not going to buy 4.5 pizzas, and you're not going to buy 3.7 bottles of soda. And really, there are some answers out here that are kind of silly, like this one. You're not going to buy 0 pizza and 25 bottles of pop. But mathematically, it's true. And you're not going to buy 10 pizzas and not buy any drinks for people, because then everybody would be thirsty. Okay, if you need to go back and watch it again, if I went too fast for you, that's the beauty of watching a video. So take the time to do that if you need to. I'm going to move on to the next problem, and that's problem 5. In this problem, what you're given is a graph, and your job is to write the inequality that goes with the graph. So it's backwards from what we did in the first part of the lesson. Looking at part A, the graph is a solid line, and the part that's shaded is the part that I'm highlighting right now in yellow. That's already been highlighted. Let me highlight it in a different color. This is the shaded region. Some people get confused which side is shaded and which is unshaded. So here's what you do. You look at the graph that's given to you. First thing you should notice is the line is solid. That means it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Then you look at the line itself and you figure out, where does the line cross the y-axis? Well, here is the point where the line crosses the y-axis, and that point is at 1, so I know that my b is 1. Then you're going to figure out the slope of the line. Well, this line goes through these 2 points, so my slope is rise over run, so I go up 2 over 1. My slope is 2 over 1, or 2. Now, having worked so many of these problems in an earlier chapter, you should know by now that you can write an equation with m and b by using y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to write out y, my m is 2x, plus my b is 1. What I don't know is what goes in between in place of the equal sign, because it could be less than or equal to, or it could be greater than or equal to. So here's how I figure out where or which symbol goes there. The point 0, 0 is in the region that's shaded. This point 0, 0 makes the inequality true. So if I were to put in 0 for y and 0 for x, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Which of the two inequalities will make this statement true? 0 and 1. Is 0 greater than 1 or 0 less than 1? Well, 0 is less than 1, so that's the symbol I use for my answer. And that's it. The second part, part B, notice that this is a dotted line, so there will not be an equal to. It'll be greater than or less than. Same method. The beginning point is -1, and the slope is up 1 over 2. So I can write an equation, y equals mx plus b. Now, the shaded region on this one is not including 0, 0. So there are a couple ways you can do this. You can try it with 0, 0 and try to make it not true. But I think what's easier is you just pick some point that's in the shaded region, like this point, 1, -1. So I'm going to put 1 in for x and -1 in for y. 1/2 times 1 is 1/2, plus -1 is -1/2. What inequality will make this true? -1 is what compared to -1/2? Well, it turns out that -1 is less than -1/2. So that's the symbol I use for my answer. Okay, that's it. When you come to class tomorrow, I will have problems for you to complete.